You held out your hand. I took your fingerprints. You asked for love. I gave you only descriptions. Please die, I said, so I can write about it. Margaret Atwood. Welcome back to Kingsport 1851 Volume 2, Session 6. We're on the penultimate episode. They have been increasing in dramatic tension, so I'm looking forward to this continuing that trend and getting us into the finale. So let me introduce our fantastic cast because they are fantastic and I blather. So let's start with someone I am fortunate enough to be in 2 games with currently, and she's fantastic. And Lilith is her character, who is also fantastic. So please let's welcome Marissa, who plays Lilith Belvedere, the scholar and the believer.
But which comes first, the believer or the scholar? It's up to you to find out, and I suppose Lilith to make that clear. Hi, I'm Marissa, and I play Lilith Belvedere. She, her, both myself and Lilith. Lilith is a tall and willowy young woman with sharp, appraising eyes of lightest gray. She walks around in fine silks on a whaling ship, which should tell you everything you need to know about Lilith. She is a scholar, a novelist, and a dabbler in the, shall we say, Lovecraftian arts, which we've been discovering more and more as the sessions have gone on. Last session, she decided effectively that she is going to, quote unquote, support the captain in the captain's own exploration of these Lovecraftian arts, and we shall see what happens this session.
I mean, nothing but good things. I'm sure everything's just going to turn out swimmingly. No spoilers.
I see that pun.
Yeah. No, what I did there, you saw. It's excellent. So before I lose track completely, let's go next to someone I get to play with all the time, and it never gets older. So please, let's welcome Justin, who's playing Eamon Whistler Burns, the old sea dog and kinsman.
Hi, my name's Justin. I'm playing Whistler, he, him player, he, him character. Whistler started out as a simple man with a simple goal, to go whaling on the boat and then go home and spend the money he makes from whaling on the boat. And things have gotten decidedly more complicated for him and for everyone else ever since before we left dock. So it's been an interesting ride, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
I mean, you know where this is going to go. David Jones's locker, Mr. Whistler.
That's what I'm worried about.
I know. That's what everyone's worried about. Except for possibly the captain. So let's introduce the captain. Someone I am always super happy to play with. I think last I was a vampire to... What were you in that game? Oh, you were some kind of shaman in that game, right?
Which one are you thinking of?
Urban Shadows we were in?
Oh, yeah. I was a vampire. You were a tea shop owning...
Oh, that's right. I got the Urban Shadows games.
Wizard.
Yes. My Aikido wizard hippie. Yes. But that's neither here nor there. So please let's welcome Sarah, who's playing Clement Thorne, the captain and the lover.
Yes. So Sarah, she, her, playing Clement, he, him. He's the newly reinstated captain of the Calypso. He's a mildly unstable person, very intense. Last session, he and Lilith dumped a body overboard. I killed him. I take responsibility for that. You're welcome. And was drowned so that he could say goodbye to Lord Edlin, the last person that he loved and sacrificed for the Leviathan. Never going to see him again, I'm sure. And we're in the middle of a storm now.
I mean, metaphysically, physically.
In all ways, spiritually.
Oh, yeah. And so finally, last but most assuredly not least, let's welcome Dorian, who I am also in another game with. It's like multiple.
It's the same one.
I know, but people don't have to know that. They can think I'm like super active all the time. So please let's welcome Dorian, who's playing Angus Melanson, our Strider and Outcast.
Hello, yes, that is me. I'm Dorian. I'm playing Angus. We both use he and him pronouns. Angus is a pretty normal guy, albeit one with a dark past, getting into increasingly abnormal situations. And the fact that he killed a dude, probably not by accident, is increasingly looking like it might be catching up with him in the midst of all this other chaos. So we'll see how much longer he can keep on an even keel, and whether he, loses his composure this time around.
All things will be revealed. The sea has a way. So speaking of the sea, I think we're going to pick up several days, possibly weeks later, with the ship now well into the roaring 40s, which I have touched on before, but is the 40 degrees south latitude, wherein there is essentially no land. And because of that, the winds will blow from from west to east pretty constantly and pretty hard. So this is a seascape of pitching waves and 20-foot swells and 30-mile gales, and the ship is heeled over hard and ice is clustered on the rigging. And I know we keep going back to this well, but I feel like you're the old sea dog, Eamon, and like every episode can start with you just gazing out at the sea because it always makes sense.
That's what you do. You stand and you gaze.
I'm going to posit something about the recent events, which is this. People respect the captain. People fear the captain. There are probably some people who reverence and close to worship the captain at this point for all the stuff, but they don't love the captain. They don't have loyalty to the captain other than that which ensures, their religious prayers. But you, Eamon Burns, you they trust because you are a sailor born and bred, and you have their respect, and they know that you are trying to keep them all alive.
And I think that's how I'm kind of starting this whole thing. Because one, we have this storm, and there's prep that needs to be done and things that need to be kept safe during all this time. And I can imagine the sea is probably not giving us a lot of breaks right now when it comes to everything. So I feel like at this point, Eamon's just been kind of like all over the deck, not always voluntarily, just making sure that all the knots are tied, everything is secure, that any of the sailors are able to like hold themselves up and aren't too like seasick or just like knocked around a little bit on this boat, and they're not too injured. I feel like there should be an Eamon and Angus scene, because he's the one who's just like wants to kind of be there, and I could have a serious conversation with him about this stuff.
There's definitely plenty of things that can go wrong once you're in the roaring 40s. It's like there are accidents, people are getting hurt. It's just you're not really in a storm all the time. It's just, you're heeled over. So when I say heeled over, because a sail is essentially a wing, what moves a ship through the water is lift. So the faster the ship goes, the drag will cause, because the wind will come from not straight behind generally, but at an angle. That speed will cause the ship to drag in the water, and it will start to pitch over in the opposite direction of the wind. So when you're going very fast, the deck is not level anymore. It is at an angle like a pitched roof.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense.
When it gets really bad, ships will string ropes along the deck so that people can find things, either use them to hold on, or if it's dark enough, to find things because they can't see.
I was on a boat. It wasn't even a small one. It was a fairly large, like fishing boat with a motor. No, none of that. But it was like 8 to 10 foot swells, and it was an absolute nightmare. And I never want to do that again, because your equilibrium just goes out the window.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But please, shall we say, a frosty, dark dawn with lots of
Yeah.
ragged clouds and just some gold light in the east.
Mm-hmm. It's that weird time when it goes from the gloom into the actual, like, pretty rays of the sun and the purples and the oranges, but we're not quite there yet. Mr. Angus?
Yeah, Angus is out there as well. I think over the past number of weeks, like he's a competent guy generally, so he's probably gotten much more at home on the ship. But this recent period, with as Kat pointed out, the deck being significantly more sloped, he's probably not entirely at home with this sort of thing. So he's definitely picking his way across the deck to you with somewhat exaggerated care.
How you faring this morning?
Oh, things have been relatively quiet, if we're considering them as compared to earlier in the voyage. But you know,
Oh, this weather, it ain't letting up on us at all. It's been a real blighter.
is it typical to be like this at this point on the journey?
Oh, hi. You always hope to avoid the storms, but sometimes, I mean, those clouds spread for miles and miles. When you get wrapped up in it, you just have to wait for the storm to move along or break apart eventually.
It feels very exposed out here in a way I know I should have anticipated, but I suppose I'm used to being able to take more shelter when caught in inclement weather rather than just being entirely at its mercy.
I can understand that. My first few voyages, I mean, I was a lad doing this. I mean, what do you think we haven't seen the cabin boy? That poor wee bastard's sick as a dog down there.
Oh, no doubt.
How are you faring?
As I said, well as can be expected, the fight I had feared has not materialized. As I said, I haven't been looking for trouble, and so far it's yet to find me.
Well, that's good.
How
I mean,
is
Mhm.
the? He looks a little awkward referring to this because it was obviously a bit of trouble. But how is the man who? Oh,
Oh, the captain?
no, the one I.
Oh. Um, well, he ain't in the best of moods. Now that I guess that the dam's been broken between the two of you, and at some point I can imagine, there's going to be words and hopefully not fists, but maybe fists. But with all this weather, he's too busy and too dizzy to actually do anything.
I suppose a ship's cooper always has plenty to do, but
Oh,
I meant the one from the Verity.
Oh. Aye, him. Well, first we had him stashed in the brig. And then the weather that came upon us. So we've been putting him to work, helping him get everything secured. But he has to sleep with the brig. He's not complaining too much. He gets fed. Isn't too talkative about the Verity, and hasn't asked to go back.
I can't imagine he would. No.
So that's going to be something that you're going to have to settle up with when you get onto land. Finding out what happened and maybe fixing up reputations.
I'm aware. I'm glad he's all right. I'm glad I was able to get one person away from there at least.
Oh, I'm not saying you did a bad thing. It is kind of funny though, Angus. You're such a quiet fella. You do your job well. And yet you seem to keep getting mixed up into trouble.
I would argue that it keeps finding me.
Well,
I guess.
that seems like a cue for me. So, with the light now coming up, Eamon, your sharp sailor eyes pick out something that surprises you. Up ahead on the rising on one of the swells is a boat, and I don't mean a ship or bark or even a brig. I mean a boat. And there's one person in it, and he's rowing up the swell and then porting his oars as he goes down the other side. But you're rapidly closing on them.
I look over at Eamon and I'm just like, we aren't particularly close to land, are we?
No, we're not near land at all. Who is this blasted fella? Aye, grab that rope.
It's easy enough to order the crew to back the sails as you approach, and he comes in under your lee and looks up. It's just one guy. He's in like a black broadcloth suit that's all stained with salt. He like fishes around and puts on a battered top hat. Looks up at you like, ahoy the ship.
Ahoy to you too,
I'm
sir.
just imagining all our heads like peering over the railing with just these looks of total confusion.
May I know which ship I'm addressing?
This here's the Calypso.
Forgive me, sir. My name is Raphael Renier. I appear to be the last survivor of the good brig Thetis.
Oh, damn it all, man. Don't stay down there. Here, grab a rope, get on up here. How long have you been out to sea like this?
It's been some days, sir.
Oh, aye. Yeah, come on up. We'll get you something warm.
So he clambers up the side with the assistance of a rope. The crew that's on watch is kind of all staring at him. He sort of tries to brush off his coat a little. He's carrying a leather-bound book that's got like, you know, the cord wrapped around it. It's stuffed with papers. He's got some kind of satchel or something slung over his shoulder. I must thank you, Captain, for saving me. I don't know what would have come of me. I didn't even see you there. The waves are so high. I missed you in the darkness.
I think Angus's eyes briefly slide over to Eamon when he's addressed as captain to see how he's going to react to that, like whether you're going to correct this guy or not.
Oh, no. First mate, what? Here, you know what? You wait here a spell. Angus, get a little bit of info from this man. I'm gonna go get the captain.
If you don't mind, sir, if I could go below decks and warm up a spell.
Of course, yes. Get down there, man, before you freeze.
All right, so I think shortly thereafter, Angus and Raphael come into the great cabin.
Cozy.
Yes.
Yeah, just turn and look at these people.
Good day, sir. Is Lilith there? I'm assuming Lilith is there.
If she'd like to be.
I think she would like to be.
Your sort of vizier
sir?
on the ship.
Ma'am?
You're not one of the crew.
You have the misfortune of addressing a poor wretch of a castaway, ma'am. Sir?
So the sea
Ma'am?
sent you.
In a manner of speaking, I suppose, yes.
He rode here from... Where is it that you left your ship?
I was aboard the brig Thetis, which foundered some days ago. I think 4. I'm
Founded
afraid I've
how?
foundered in a storm. We were overcome by a wave the ship rolled on its beams, and down she went to Davy Jones.
How lucky you made it out.
I was very fortunate indeed that I happened to be standing near one of the boats when the moment came. It somehow was freed from its davits and bobbed up to the sea, and I was, by the purest chance, the wind blew us both aback so that we were not pulled down in the suction.
Just glance over at Whistler. Do we have space?
Oh. I mean, we can retie a hammock or two. Find some space for this fella. What was your name again?
It's Raphael, sir. Raphael Ranier.
Hi, Raphael. What were you? What did you do on this? On your...
The Thetis, among other things, it was a commercial ship, sir, but among other things, it was a messenger ship.
Oh, is that what that bundle is? Some big
Yes,
important message.
some
Look at
papers that I was able to spare from the ship.
Did
Aye.
you say messenger?
Yes, ma'am. A mail ship, if you will, though it was private mail, not any government mail.
And what message do you carry?
Well, I have several. To be sent to their recipients. Our destination was Melbourne Harbor, but I'm happy to find any ship upon these waters. They're most dreadful.
Oh. Seems you have the devil's luck there. Either that or one hell of an angel on your shoulder.
Perhaps a bit of both, I guess, seeing as what has become of me. I beg your pardon, Captain. I did not hear your name if it was given.
Thorn.
And is this Mrs. Thorne?
At Lilith, I assume.
What are the expressions on your faces at that?
He's looking at Lilith, I assume.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think Lilith is totally looking back and
Just blinks a couple times, same as
Oh.
before. Is she nodding?
she is the kind of like, well, this is not necessarily what I expected, but I will accept this interpretation.
I say nothing.
Yeah, Eamon and I are just like watching.
Oh yeah, no, Amy and I Angus and I, yeah, we definitely like kind of take a look at each other, look back at them like that'd be a day.
Tea.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Just like push the pot over to the other side of the table.
He sits down, throws down his satchel and book on top of the table, without even thinking. Apparently, he's just so eager to drink some tea.
And as he sits across, I guess read a situation feels more appropriate than read another's thoughts here.
I suppose
Like
it feels
just
fairly
this
charged.
rando in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere.
Yeah, no. However, you have to
Mysterious
admit,
private message.
this is about the 10th weirdest thing that's happened so
yeah.
far.
But also, he could be unwittingly, it seems, the person we're looking for, or we're told to expect.
Well,
So-
you weren't told to expect.
That's true. Well, his Lilith? In my mind, that information has been shared, but I don't
I'm sure
actually
it's
remember.
been shared, but
Okay.
it was
Yes.
specifically said to Lilith.
If you're masquerading as my wife. All right, that is plus brain. Oh dear. That doesn't matter. That's a 3 on the dice, so.
So, you would love to sit here, but it is actually your watch on deck.
Yeah, just look over at Whistler probably and stand up. Oh gosh. I don't know. I guess I can't do it myself, can I?
That's no problem, Captain. You got more
Yeah.
pressing
Oh, yeah,
matters.
yeah. Sorry, that was to the chat.
Uh,
But yeah, I'll just say find a place for him if we have it.
oh, aye.
Yeah, and just kind of like
He's
tap
just
the
sitting.
table a couple times thoughtfully and then head out.
He's just sitting there, sipping his tea loudly.
Have to catch the pot every couple seconds because
I don't. Well, sometimes people actually had like plates that would fasten down onto a table. Like looking up, it's like, I don't suppose I could trouble anyone for a cup of broth or something. I haven't ate a meal in, oh dear, it must, as I say, 3 or 4 days.
I'll go rustle you up something. Angus, give me a hand. You can go see if we can find a spot for this fella.
Yeah, Angus will follow to go and attempt to find a room.
I think Lilith will slide down into a seat next to Raphael, and she will say, "So, you're a messenger. I take it that means you know a lot about mail."
Well, it is my profession, ma'am.
"Yes, which means you are an expert in it, I take it. How mail gets from one place to another, that is."
So, inasmuch as expertise pertains, then yes, you could say I'm quite skilled, quite expert in it, I suppose.
This is very good news, because you see, I had a letter that I needed to post, and it was stolen by a bird. Luckily, I
see.
have another copy of it, but it is my
Oh.
last copy, and I want to make sure that it arrives at its intended destination, if you take my meaning.
Obviously, I can't send any. You would have more luck with the bird right now, but if you wish, I can put it in my satchel where it shall be safe. And whatever harbor we call upon, I shall see that it is sped to its destination.
That would be delightful, yes, thank you, because at the moment I am trusting of the copy put into a bottle and released into the sea.
That would be less likely, but not impossible. Stranger things have been known to happen, Mrs. Thorne.
I am not Mrs. Thorne, thank you very much.
Oh, you'll forgive my misapprehension.
My name is Lilith Belvedere. I am a scholar.
Lilith Belvedere?
Yes. Have you heard of me?
He reaches into his satchel and pulls out a letter. I have a letter for you.
You have a letter for me. Is it from Lavinia Hawbramble? Tell me now. Tell me quickly.
I believe that is the name on it. It's been somewhat damaged by the waters, ma'am.
She holds out her hands expectantly.
Drops it into it, and it is indeed water-stained.
She immediately starts to read.
Dear Boz, this letter that you have sent me finds me, and I shall reply to it most immediately. You know my method is normally to spend no worse than a day replying to mail, for I find that my passions run too quick if I immediately dash off my thoughts. I've been saved from many a bad review and many a failed publishing contract by this method. And of course, there comes a point where after a day, I realize I wish not to reply at all. You sadly have been the victim of that a few times, not because I lack of appreciation of your letter, but simply that the things you have said have been said so well that they brook no reply. You probably wonder how I came upon this letter, for the tale is most strange, and yet the mysteries you reveal are far stranger indeed, I think, although you have, in your own inimitable way, solved a mystery that has plagued the town these many days. For now we know that poor cracked Phoebe Greenwood is aboard your ship as stowaway or good luck charm, or however it is you plan to employ her. The strangest thing is, I was sitting at tea this very morning when her cousin arrived. Distant, cold, scatterbrained Forbes Greenwood dressed all in black, which is not how I recall him. He was quite the popinjay before he dashed off to parts unknown. I invited him in. He seemed quite taken aback by his situation. Sat down at the tea table. I handed him a cup of tea. He stared at the teapot as if it was something that he recognized but no longer knew the name for. Without a word, he handed me your letter, which I immediately tore open and read, ignoring all propriety. When I was done, he stood up, nodded to me, tried to say a word, but it came out only as some kind of strangled, croaked cry, and departed. I ran to the window to watch him go down the lane, as I was most afraid that he would have some fit. And yet, he was gone. This is one of the queerest things I've ever seen. I think this alone occasions me writing back to you as quickly as possible. My dear Boswell, I find that I am most immensely cheered to know that you are still alive, and I hope that this letter finds you in such a condition, for I find myself missing your presence. Credit it as you will, for I know I have been most unconsciously cold to you at times, and yet I find myself thinking often of you as I sit by the fire or work on the proofs of the latest utterance, which will assuredly be drowned out by whatever latest scrap Mr. Hawthorne decides to publish this week. Do take care of yourself, and do please return to me in our darkling woods and sit by the fire and tell me tales of your sea dog life. I would say more, but I cannot think of the words. I shall post this most immediately. Yours, most warmly, Sam. I'm just assuming you have pet names for each other.
Yes, and it is beautiful and adorable. I think that using Lilith like much more unguarded than normal. I think as she reads this letter, you see very authentic emotions play across her face. I think she smiles at the notion that Lavinia read this letter immediately, ignoring all propriety. I think she particularly takes notice of the fact that the reply was immediate, and that Lavinia is cheered to know that she is still alive. And I think she again grins at their darkling woods. It is like a lifeline or a lighthouse shining across a very, very dark ocean, a beacon from far away, and yet the light still touches her. And I think from her very immersed and ensconced studies in what you could call a very dark thing, her spirits are very lifted, and suddenly she forgets it, if but for a moment.
Good news from home, ma'am?
Yes, I think you could call it that. I have not been forgotten, that is, to say the least.
Yes, to not be forgotten, that is. Well, one could say that all human civilization derives from that single urge. More than mere generation, yes?
Yes, I suppose so. It is hard when you're alone on a boat. Well, not alone, but perhaps taken away from everything you knew. To remember that what you knew goes on without you.
Well, you strike me as a intellectual woman, if I may be so bold upon our most recent acquaintance.
I'm glad I can give such an immediate impression.
I find that the intellectual is often quite alone. To possess a pinnacle of knowledge, wit, faculty, tends to leave others quite far back. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, I think so. Perhaps I have just made it manifest by stranding myself on a boat in these faraway oceans from everything that I knew. I do
But
like
then-
to see things rendered physically, that is.
That knowledge itself is a comfort, I think.
Yes, and you have delivered it to me, messenger. If you may permit me to call you that, that is.
I have often borne that title.
So I have heard.
Have you now?
Have you often been foretold?
That depends. Do you mean, have I foretold myself, or have I been foretold of?
Both.
Might be about 50-50 each way.
Well, you can add an instance of being foretold of. Your presence is
Oh.
very welcome here.
So it always begins.
Does it always end?
Why, Lilith Belvedere, nothing ever really ends.
Good.
You'll forgive me. My journey has fatigued me somewhat. May I have a moment of recollection? But if you would, Miss Belvedere, after nightfall, I would like to show you something.
I would be delighted to see whatever it is you have to show. But for the moment, please avail yourself of our resources. We have but few here on this vessel, but I'm sure that myself and the crew would be delighted to have you with us for however long you wish to be.
Thank you. You're most kind. Oh, and do commend my good wishes to Phoebe Greenwood.
I'm sure she will commend her good wishes herself.
She'd better. Now at that, he turns back to his tea.
That's fine.
Yeah, everything is good. This is fine. So what's everybody else doing? Manning
Oh.
the boats, going over the side.
Just going over the charts. If I start swimming now, I probably just found a spot for this guy. That's about it.
Yeah, and since Angus was there and has been tasked with it, he's probably just been helping to kind of set things up. Might make a comment along the lines of been a voyage for unexpected passengers.
Oh, I'm thinking, next week we'll get the Pope, and after that, maybe Julius Caesar come back from the dead, do a spot of whaling with us.
A lot of journey left. Who knows what'll happen? I suppose any long journey has its share of surprises, though.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Angus. I've been on many a long journey. This one has been the most surprising thus far. Is it something a bit strange about that man?
His story is remarkable.
Oh, aye, but I mean, I've had to fish fellas out of the water before. I mean, even you yourself. You helped a man over here. How desperate was he to get off that boat?
I would say very.
Aye, and here we have a man just come rowing up to us, plain as day, in the middle of a storm. And he's all calm. And he's just like, oh, hello. I'm here now. Can I have tea?
I suppose shock can take people in different ways, but I see your point.
Just seems a bit strange to me. I mean, maybe it is shock, I mean, hey, if my luck turned around so much and good in that direction, then yeah, I guess I'd be shocked too. Still, though, maybe I'm just on edge. Everything's a bit weird lately.
Yeah, I fear I've somewhat lost perspective on what counts as strange at this point, if I ever really knew in the context of a voyage at sea.
Oh, has
But
Phoebe...
if you say this qualifies,
Oh, this qualifies. Has Phoebe cornered you at all with giving you any of her little prophecies?
I try to stay out of her way. I don't want to be swept up in whatever she portends.
Oh, good. Lucky you. She scared half the soul out of a man the other day with the random things she was raving about to him.
She has a he's like looking for a way to be diplomatic. A distinctive presence.
Aye, that seems to be a nice way of putting she's scary as all hell. Oh, it's barely daybreak and we already have something so exciting. I'm gonna go take the watch now that the captain's busy. If you need anything, or or you get thrown overboard, give a holler.
I am going to try and avoid the latter. Once was enough.
You're a smart man, Angus.
I guess he's actually taken a dip in the water more than once, so he would have said twice is enough, because there was the incident with the harpooning.
So, Captain, comes noon, and as is your responsibility, you take the sun sighting so that you can fix your location. And as is the custom, some of the mates will accompany you, and today's job falls to your third mate, Mr. Pembleton.
Gotcha, Elias. Yeah, we haven't talked much, but...
So you take the sun sight, confirm your latitude, because that's all you can on the sun sight, but quickly check through the almanac and compare to the chronometer in the great cabin, and you fix your position as near as you can, and everybody does the calculation themselves to make sure it agrees. And when you write it down on the log, Elias looks at you and says, "Well, now that we're here, I fear I must," and he hands you a letter. And the seal on it is Josiah Pemberton's.
I think he handed me a letter when he first got on this boat, too, though I never read it on the screen. But yeah.
My uncle probably told you that at such time you might receive orders.
He did.
I was instructed, if we reached this longitude, to hand you this letter.
Take it and with, I assume it's wax sealed and sort of just, slot it open with my knife.
It's very basic and perfunctory in the manner of sea orders, and it just basically, Captain Thorne, you will proceed to the following coordinates, attempting to arrive there no later than the spring equinox. The position is nowhere near the Japanese fishing grounds. The position is somewhere in the South Sea, somewhere in Micronesia, probably.
Put it back and close it and put it in a pocket. Is there anything else?
No, Captain. I was directed by my great uncle to ensure that you would give me verbal confirmation that the orders had been received and will be carried out.
Let me read a situation, I guess, again. Feels like the most appropriate. I guess I'm reading in others' thoughts, but these aren't terribly useful, the questions.
Yep. That happens sometimes. It helps us clarify what's actually happening. It does sound like you're reading the situation more than Elias Templeton's thoughts on this matter.
Yeah, and just, the letter and all of that. So yeah, plus brain, which is 0. That's a 7. Let me double check. Yeah, 7. So,
Ask 2.
2. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
What's my best way in, out, or past
Can I have some context for that?
to this place that I'm supposed to be going?
It's not particularly complicated. There are some shoals and tricky navigation in the way, but if you start your turn in the next day or so, you'll be able to catch fairly good winds in that direction.
Okay.
However, it will also be extremely obvious to someone who has at least the marginal skills of Elias Templeton if you do not do so.
Stuck between what here's not what it seems and what's my biggest threat. I guess what here's not what it seems.
There's no way in hell this letter was sealed 3 months ago. The writing is absolutely Josiah Templeton's, though. It doesn't look like his grandnephew's in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Josiah has an extremely old-fashioned copperplate hand.
Yeah, logically, he might have written it and then Elias sealed it. But yeah, just kind of run my thumb over like the seal, right? Like, which is probably Josiah's in some identifiable way. Your great uncle wrote this.
He did, sir. You'll find his hand is most distinctive.
Did your great uncle also seal it?
I imagine it was handed to me in that condition. Is there a question as to the authenticity of the note, Captain?
When you came on board, you brought something with you.
And if I did?
Show me.
It is not the time yet, Captain.
Well, you know when it is.
When we arrive at where that letter says to go.
Nod. And put the letter back in my pocket. And go, walk off to do whatever needs doing to make sure we're gonna get where we're going, which is this place.
Cool.
So if it would be obvious to Elias, were we to not change course to go to this place, I assume it would be obvious to other seasoned sailors on board if we were to change course.
Like,
yes.
say, Whistler.
Yeah, Whistler and the second mate would absolutely be able to tell. Probably any of the able seamen could tell.
What about people who are just generally good at directions?
And you know some celestial navigation, I'm sure, and by now you've had time to learn the stars of the southern hemisphere. So yes, you would be able to change. You'd be able to determine such a radical change of direction. The difference is that you don't know the map of the seas as well, so you wouldn't know where you're going.
But possibly the radical change is to catch a current or something.
Sure. I mean,
I don't know.
It would be as suspicious as you would like it to be, because I'm pretty sure most of the crew has said that they had no plans to change direction at this point. Also, the direction would not be as northerly as you had been told it would be to head to the north to the Sea of Japan. All right. What shall we do next?
I mean, on the heels of that question, would Angus like to raise some concerns?
So does the captain, like, does he, like, immediately after that conversation go onto the deck and, like, tell people to change course, or?
Would we even need to at this point?
You have some time.
Okay, so yeah, not necessarily.
Because I
I'm
was
also
not.
like not going to make a huge secret of it, right? Because like I know the people will realize we're not going.
Well, yeah, you do need to tell people you're
up to
changing course
Japan,
so that they don't change
and
it
the
right
people,
back, presumably.
like people will need to adjust the sails and whatnot and all that, and people have probably made a similar voyage before. So yeah, I'm not going to make a big secret about it because I can't.
Perhaps you and Eamon need to have a conversation.
Maybe so.
I'm probably on deck doing my chores to keep the ship going in the direction it's supposed to be going.
Yeah, and this is maybe like a few days later or whatever, whenever we would have needed to actually change course.
Okay.
If that's fine with you, Kat.
Yeah, I have a scene to do with Lilith, but that can take place at night at any day. So
Yeah, probably. Yeah, quarterdeck. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Is it still very stormy?
it's windy and
Okay.
galy, but it doesn't have to be a storm.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll nod you up.
Evening to you, Captain.
Evening. What is it?
Oh, it's well, all clear for a change. Blustery, but that's the first time I've been dry in who knows how long.
I can see that for myself. I assume you didn't come up to tell me about the weather.
No. I was just wondering, is the direction we're going? You've got some new whaling grounds you're shooting for.
I wouldn't lie to you and say that I did. We were told to watch for a messenger, and he has come. And it was not the mailman.
Oh. Was it just kind of leans in? Was it something from that mirror you have there?
It was a letter.
Oh.
I've been instructed to go to, and I'll name the location approximately.
Oh. Would Eamon know this place, or is this just like a bit of water?
I'm thinking if there's any point in repurposing that move you have.
Did it come from the sea?
Yeah.
But I don't think the answers. Yeah, I don't think the answers work well enough.
Yeah.
So you're running into the problem of 1850s knowledge of geography, which is it's the South Seas. There's many islands there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
A lot of
gosh.
them are charted in various ways, not all on the same charts.
Now I'm desperately curious though, is it anywhere near where the Solano went down, which is around New Holland? Because that's where Whistler ended up afterward.
Yeah.
That's a thought to look at. Let's just say it's closer than comfort for you, probably.
You might know it.
Oh, I've been that far south before, only the once.
So have I.
So the ship owners want us to go there, or someone else?
Just gives you a considering look, because he never said that, but you're exactly right. Yes.
Oh, who else can order the captain around?
Josias Pembleton.
So, Mr. Pembleton wants us to go to a little special spot out in the ocean. Mm, May I ask to do what, if you know?
I expect we'll find out when we get there.
Does it have anything to do with that box that they nailed up to the side of the boat?
I expect it does.
They've been very protective of it. I did a little looking around there at one point when things were getting a little bit strange.
I'd suggest you not do that again.
Not planning on it anytime soon. All right. So, is there going to be instructions once we get to our destination, or is it go there and see what happens?
I'm not sure, but I think a bit of both.
All right. How, I don't know the Pembletons, except for the few here on the boat. What, do you know anything about them?
You met Josias
Aye.
at the church. I haven't spent much time with Elias, but I trust this.
Alright, well, if you trust this. But, if we see any more strange storms, I mean, it would just be in our best interest to avoid that at all costs.
Are you afraid of going back there?
I don't know if fear is the right word. I've asked myself this question a few times. How did I get back on the ocean so quickly after seeing what I did? It's just, it's not so much a fear, but more of an understanding that, that there beast in the storm, it could very well be my end. And, well, I don't exactly lead a charmed life, but it's mine, and I like it. I'd like to keep living it for a while.
You've made your choice. You did. The start of the last storm. So it's in God's hands now.
It is in God's hands now, and, he was
And you
hoping.
don't need to worry.
Oh, a man can hope that God treats him nicely, lets him keep living his life. But, occasionally it seems that, even in strange times, that, new interesting surprises can come along. Letters out of nowhere. And it seems that, we might have a wedding on our time.
A wedding.
Oh, aye.
Well, congratulations.
For what? I'm not the one getting married. You're the one who's apparently got the, a little sweetheart.
I suppose I do. just.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to you both. She's a lovely, sprightly woman, and I'm pretty sure she'll have a million questions for you till your dying day.
Your opinion's changed quite a bit.
What can I say? We've been out here a while. I'm used to Dr. Driftwood at this point. Even Phoebe's kind of slacked off on me for a little while. Though, tell her to lay off Jacobs. The poor man's having nightmares.
You've misunderstood.
do you mean?
I'm not marrying Lilith.
Oh, well, you two have been so chummy lately. Even that messenger there seemed to kind of notice a little bit of a spark between you two. I just thought maybe just
You know that they assume that because she's a woman on this ship.
oh, of
And
course.
that is the stun thing.
Yeah, it's a woman on a ship, always in the captain's quarters. I mean, rumors spread. Oh,
Just
come on.
blink a couple times at you.
Oh, come on, Captain. Just trying to have a bit of fun with you. All we've had is strangeness and storms for weeks.
And just give you like this look, right? But kind of half smiling at that. And there'll be more.
Oh, hi. Let them talk. They need to do something on their off time. They're all terrible at cards.
Is it your watch next?
Oh, hi. From now until dawn.
And now it begins. And just like, clap you on the back as he goes.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
Give my best regards to the missus. Just go back to watching the sea with a big smile on my face.
So on a clear night, I guess a day or two after Raphael came on board, he calls you out of the great cabin and asks you to climb up into the mainmast with him.
She will do this. It probably looks as a little bit of a struggle, as Lilith is not used to climbing any sorts of masts. But she's going to do it anyway.
Has Lilith, over the past few months, modified her approach to dressing in any way as a concession to life on ship, or no? I see you shaking your head. Yeah.
No, her dresses are not in perhaps the most pristine condition as a result, but she doggedly keeps to wearing what she has always worn.
But Rex little for scandal, apparently. All right, so you've climbed to the top. People, the bosun yelled at you until you were able to finally climb up into the top one day. That's not too hard because that's only the first step. But Raphael is like, "Come, let's climb higher." And so you climb up to the topmast cross trees. He's like, "No, up
Higher still.
up into the royals." So here you are on top of the tallest mast on the ship. The deck at least 100 feet below you, the sea pitching, and he edges out to the end of the yard and just stands there holding a shroud. What do you think of it up here, Miss Belvedere? Is it
Stars are so bright.
Is it
I've
a
never seen them
beautiful
like
sight?
this. Yes. Truly, I suppose when one is on the deck of a ship, one's focus is on the waves. They do compel that kind of attention. But when one is elevated, the sky is so vast and so bright.
It is clear enough down here that you see those two starry clouds high in the sky.
I do.
Those are the Magellanic clouds. It's not commonly known yet. Those are crowds of hundreds of thousands of suns.
Suns.
Well, perhaps suns. There are assuredly creatures gazing up at those stars now, looking at the great curdled whirlpool of our own home.
You said not commonly known yet.
Well, I'm perhaps privy to knowledge that the astronomers have not yet assumed.
Are you? From when do you come, Raphael?
When have I not been here, Lilith?
So you come from always.
In a manner of speaking. I want you
So
to
that-
look down. Which is hard because, you're looking down now and how are you feeling all the motion of the mast. Can you see below the waves from up here?
No,
Mm.
I've never been able to see below the waves, although I've tried.
And yet you have given so much of your time to those depths.
That's why I've come here, you know.
Hmm.
I believe the fathomless reside there, deeper than we can see. But it's the seeing that's the problem. After all, it is difficult to convince people of what they cannot see.
Fathomless.
Yes.
But those waters are not fathomless. Just because I have no court on this ship. But I could tell you that that perhaps 600 fathoms beneath the keel of this ship you will find mud and rock, ancient shells, the detritus of millions of years of life on Earth.
My term for them, my term of art, the fathomless, does not speak so much to their depth of residence as it does them. They are out of time. They are without depth. They may reside deep, but it is difficult to measure them by any sort of count.
Look up. Tell me what is truly fathomless, Lilith Belvedere. The cold waters of a small planet on the outer edge of a great galaxy. Or that. Stare into the void in between the stars and you know what you look back upon. The birth of the universe itself, invisible now, its radiation decaying long past the faculty of human sight, unaided. What is more fathomless than the beginning? Look again, for then that blackness and coldness I show you a vision of the end of time.
Are you suggesting that space has depth?
I suggest to you that if it is a true fathomless you seek it not there, but there.
Is there really such a difference between the bottom of our oceans and the top of our skies?
Well, now that all depends. I suppose here they are perhaps slightly better conversationalists. I wish that Aldebaran was hanging in the sky above us. There's a cruel and wicked king there.
Aldebaran.
Speaks in dreams of madness. Yet he speaks.
Do you dream in madness?
My dreams are madness and message.
Can you dream in message but not madness? Or is madness part of the message?
Do you know what I am?
No, I was hoping you would tell me.
You have guessed around the edges of the problem. I said
Yes, that's what a
Daedalus
scientist does.
built a great labyrinth in Crete, yes?
Yes, in which there was a minotaur.
And anyone put into that labyrinth could only feel their way through carefully, and they would be lost and almost certain not to be actually solve the riddle of the labyrinth, yes?
Unless they were skillful.
What is the world but a great labyrinth? And what am I but the diagram, the shortcut to the center, if you wish it.
But is a shortcut... I've thought of this recently. Is a shortcut really earning the center of the labyrinth? Or is it the coward's way through?
What's earning? To find the
Achievement.
center of this would take more than a human lifetime, more than 1,000 human lifetimes. Would you be blind so long?
I don't consider myself blind at all, merely continually learning.
If you could truly see, you would not try and share such pleasantry with me.
Riddle me this, Raphael.
Oh, I like riddles. I'm good at them.
If you were in the center of a maze and there were perpetually beings trying to reach you, would you rather have audience with the being that cheated their way through, that dropped down to your center from the sky and determined they were to speak with you? Or would you rather speak to the one so persistent and so logical and so very knowledgeable that they found the way to your center anyway?
Raphael is standing on the end of the arm. In the starlight, in the cold, crisp, clean, translucent air, he seems somehow strangely cold and cruel. What if I told you that the mice could never find their way to the center of the maze, not unaided? And give them 1,000,000 lifetimes, they'll never get there. And what if I tell you that it matters not? If the beings in there would step on the mice as if they were insignificant and did not exist, could not be seen by them, wander as they might, should they even be so fortunate as to one day find their way there, they would not register. So if you wish to see them, then you must cheat. But the universe is a cheat, Lilith Belvedere, I put it to you. You are a miracle of entropy, all of you on this planet. There's no reason for you to be here and reason and think. So, my advice is to take the win.
What if I told you, Raphael, if that is your name, that I am not a mouse, nor do I intend to be a mouse, that I am something more, and that someday reality will acknowledge that?
So as many a mouse has said to a cat, that the cat recks not with what the mouse has to say.
But what if the cat believed a mouse to be a mouse, and that mouse was a cat all along? Wouldn't the cat feel foolish then for not recognizing its own?
You think? So am I a cat in this? I'm kind of losing the thread.
If you are the cat and you believe me to be a mouse, I am saying that I am not a mouse at all, and that you would be better to recognize me as your own.
I see. So you think you're a cat?
Yes. And I intend to prove it.
Well, they call you a scientist. Let's test that hypothesis. And he just stares out at the sea for a minute. And Lilith, as you look down on the water, you see something glowing and large rising up from the depths and chasing after the ship.
What would you have me do?
Watch and learn. Let's see what your fathomless are like. So, who's got watch on the deck?
Good question.
I nominate Angus, since you spoke first.
Yeah, fair enough. So you say this thing is glowing.
Well, Yes, I think the first thing you probably would notice is that something breaches the water, and kind of instinctively, maybe you would start to shout, there she blows. Like, wait.
Yeah. I assume he knows the protocol by now, so he certainly would, like raise a hue and cry, basically immediately as there was evidence of something. And then, this is not an animal he has seen before. That's for sure. Big and bioluminescent.
Also, whales tend to have fewer tentacles and eyes.
Righto. And jellyfish would have more tentacles, possibly, but no eyes. So
it's vaguely cetacean shaped.
all right, so he'll holler, and then he is probably, once people on deck are aware, he would probably book it to try and find either Eamon or the captain.
Yeah, it sounds like people are ringing all hands.
Yeah.
Captain Eamon, you've probably come dashing up on deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just like half throw myself over like the railing to look.
It's bobbing there off the quarterdeck, and its tentacles arched gracefully over the waves. Its flukes playfully splashing in the spray. It opens its mouth and grins with its, triple banked rows and rows of teeth, and blinks several of its eyes at you. Hey, Eamon, you might want to act under pressure here.
Keep it cool, buddy.
Yeah.
to do anything.
Right.
Because you've seen this thing before.
Oh.
Just not this well.
Yeah. Thank God, I took a decent amount of
balance.
Yeah.
We're all pretty balanced, except with one notable exception.
Question though, what are you trying? Are you trying to do anything here?
Yeah.
What would you need to roll yet?
I'm trying to not get on the little boat and just start rowing.
South Africa's only 1,500 miles that way.
Basically, right now, my fight or flight is acting up in the biggest way possible, and I have to. I'm basically rolling on the idea that I'm going to turn off that instinct for as long as I possibly can. All right, rolling green. That is an 8.
I might help you regardless. You never know.
Thank you.
It might be useful here.
Yeah, just like I think it sounded like we were standing pretty close, and we'll just like reach out and just like put a hand on your shoulder and say, look. Like in exactly the same tone of voice that I told you to look in that mirror.
Oh, good.
Is that helpful? Yeah. Is that will that help him be calm?
It's exposure therapy.
Plus mundane.
So let's see. That's roll plus bonds. Oh, we said we were gonna take a look at bonds.
He did say that.
Didn't do that.
Oopsie.
We just got the one. That is unfortunately only a 7.
That puts him to a 9.
Yeah.
Well,
Eamon,
are multiple people allowed to help on a thing?
I believe only one person's roll will count.
Ah, well.
Like I said, the alas for the awful sea rolling the dice section is vague. However, Eamon, I put it to you that this would seem to fall under the auspice of your prophecy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, which one was it? The beware not thy captain, but thy captain's desires. Beware the secrets kept from the sea.
Yep.
Would we describe this as a secret from the sea?
So it's kind of up to you. If you want to claim that +1, that would sure imply that you're not trusting the captain in this moment.
Which is fine. You just need to trust God.
So I think we could put it like this. It's not so much that I don't trust the captain. It's just that I have my own particular motivation in all this. There's God, for lack of a better word that we know. But before any of that, my mind's on the crew. Because I know what this thing is capable of when it gets curious or ritually. So I'll take the +1 because I'm not looking for this entire crew to be part of an entire ritual potentially again.
Oh no, not again.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I don't know about the cat up there, so I'm just looking out at this thing. All right, Captain. It's not talking to me. Is it talking to you?
I would like to roll to sense the beyond, please. Also, question, Cat.
Yes.
Last time, I think the price for coming back to life was that I not lower a boat to go chase whales.
You could not go in a boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you the sort of GM to want the spirit of a thing enforced or the letter?
Oh, I think whatever's more interesting, but you were supposed to not go on a boat. The other crew could theoretically lower.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, maybe not using a boat.
Oh, well, that would be an interesting thing to test. I believe the way Phoebe told it was that the only boat you could trust under your feet now was
this one.
Calypso, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for now, let's just roll us into the beyond. Is it talking to me? That is an 8. +2 is 10.
Visions and truths. And so Job sat, and the whirlwind spoke. Unworthy one, I've spat thee out before. Shall I not drag you all down to embrace the depths and find worth in the mud?
Clement takes off his shoes.
Oh no! Now with that, the beastie begins to swim directly at the ship. Angus. Not Angus, Eamon. Well, I mean Angus too. I mean, everybody.
Captain,
We're all on this boat.
Could you get that there divine beastie to not attack the ship?
And just pulls his sweater off.
Oh, okay. That's how it's gonna be. I immediately turned to the crew. Get your harpoons, lads!
So a funny thing is happening as they're coming up. So Thor and Benoit come springing up with their irons out. Oscar is struggling to get there, and he's being dragged back by Elias's boat crew, several of whom are on their knees and chanting in some language that you don't speak. Corey is just standing there with a pipe in her mouth, looks at you as, still acting mate, aren't I?
I think that time has passed. First boat steerer.
Be that as it may, I'm somewhat constrained. And she flips a harpoon in the air and it lands quivering at your feet, Angus.
I mean, he'll look at it. He'll look at the beastie, which you say is advancing on the boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll grab it. He'll move to, defend this ship and its crew.
Tor's like, should we lower, Mr. Eamon?
Oh, aye, we're gonna be lowering. You there. I'm just indicating towards Corey's group.
Not Corey's.
It's,
Elias's boat crew.
Elias's. Are you joining us?
They look up at you in a way that seems quite alien. Their eyes blacken the starlight and don't say anything.
Do they have any harpoons with them? Or no?
No,
They're
well,
stopping
Oscar has
Oscar.
his, but they're holding him back. And Corey just leans right in your ear, Eamon, and says, half of them think that they will survive no matter what. They'll be of no use to you now.
No, but we need every harpoon we can get. We need everything we can get.
And in the middle of this, Clement is finished undressing and just like dives off the edge of the ship.
Fantastic.
Splash.
Why don't you act under pressure?
You
Because no
got
matter
it.
what your intent is, it's all the same.
This seems fairly dangerous.
You got it. That's supposed to balance. Oh shoot.
Interesting. Today's the day, huh?
I guess
Been rolling so well.
I know, not now. That's a
The
4
bills come
plus-
due.
4 plus 2 is 6. Cat.
Yes.
My reputation precedes me.
I mean, there's also is my love true? So
That's true. It could be any number of things. You tell me which, but also I got a 6.
to find me, you must risk the uttermost loss, is your prophecy. Yeah, all right. That's a +1.
Okay.
I'll get you to a
7.
7.
Great.
How does the 7 feel?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
I mean, a 6 also felt good, so.
You dive in the water. The creature swims past you, but as it goes by and you think that it has not seen you, one of the tentacles lashes out, closes around your waist. It's shockingly painful. You can feel the barbs and teeth on it abrading your skin as it lofts you naked into the air, water dripping off of you. Take a harm. Or give me back a point and not.
I mean, I've only got 2 left, and I feel like I might need to come back from the dead at some point. So I'm gonna keep those for now.
Okay, so that's what you guys see. I mean, the ship is moving extremely fast, even for you guys. You're probably clipping close to 9-10 knots. This thing is keeping pace and perhaps gaining on you, Eamon. Also, it's got the captain and it's holding him in the air like some kind of strange baby rattle or something.
Very dignified.
Very,
And he's naked?
More or less.
more or less.
Clothes weigh you down in the water.
I mean, that's true.
All right. To the boats. Every one of you. Anything you have. We're going to use it to chase this beastie off. And if you hear it talking or any strange voices you don't recognize, you ignore it. This is for our lives, not our livelihoods. Is that understood, Ben?
Aye, sir.
Aye.
Yeah,
Corey
Angus nods.
Corey grabs your arm, Eamon, says, I'll stay. and be boat keeper, and keep my eye upon my clansmen.
Aye, if they do anything that endangers the ship, stop them.
Oh, Eamon Burns. The time to worry about that was before we crossed the bar at Kingsport Harbor.
You and I are gonna talk after I finish dealing with this wee bit of a situation.
If we both live, then I will enjoy that discussion.
Aye.
Is Lilith still in the rigging?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she's watching all this.
Yeah. Raphael's standing there like, so what do you want? What are you thinking? 3-1 the ship sinks? What do you want to do, kitty?
I think Lilith begins to sing. And her knowledge of Eldritch language is very rudimentary. It is what she has picked up through study, which is not particularly native nor proficient. But she attempts to sing something like, "What you want with mouse child, it writhes in your clutches, kinsbeast. Mouse thinks you are God. Would you punish mouse?"
This is assuredly a move, but I don't know what it is.
I don't either. Otherwise, I would have framed it as a move.
It almost feels like
It's kind of manipulate another, maybe.
I'm thinking it might be outsmart.
Oh, or it could be that.
You are technically trying to outsmart, God.
An eldritch beast. Yes, I am. In which case, yes, outsmart, roll plus brains. Brains is 2. That is, oh dear, a 10 on the dice plus 2 is 12.
Oh,
Oh, that was a good oh dear.
That was a good oh dear, like an oh, the dice have actually done something nice.
Fantastic.
So, Eamon, you and the other boat crews are standing in the beginning to lower the boats to drop down into them. Because actually, the way this worked is like the mate and one of it and the harpooner maybe would lower the boat, and then the crew would clamber down the ropes into it. You're like halfway lowered.
Oh wait.
Yep.
Before I get in the boat, I'm gonna go get the harpoon.
oh, I've got that.
You have it with you?
Yeah.
Wait, you took it when you jumped off the boat?
Yep.
Never mind.
If you want it, come and get it.
I am.
You're like you've started to lower halfway down. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a thing because the swell is 10 12 foot. So like even if you can get the boats in the water without being smashed the flinders against the side of the ship is going to be interesting. But you're halfway down and somebody shouts out above, she stops.
The beastie?
Yeah, it's just standing there, and then this whale song pours forth from it. You've heard whale song before. Sometimes it's eerie, sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's, let's face facts, it sounds like high-pitched grunting under the ocean. This sounds like nothing like that, except somehow it fits that category of whale song. And Lilith standing in the rigging. The mouse is insignificant. Wilt thou not come with me? Come below the waves to the city. Meet the others.
Are you offering me godhood? I cannot breathe below the waves as I am now.
You are an impertinent little mouse yourself.
I am not a mouse, as I explained to your messenger. I am a cat in mouse form.
You're assuredly not a cat.
Oh, but
you're
I
not a
am.
mouse either. Perhaps you're an otter.
An otter needs air, but can swim as well.
Sometimes.
What form would I take if I could live beneath the waves?
You're
An
not.
orca?
You're,
A dolphin?
Why do you care so much about living?
I assume you have life of some kind, even if it is not linear. You have mind, therefore you have life.
There is a master, a very great master, of which I am but an insignificant herald, who lies dreaming below the waves, dead but not dead.
So where is the master? All I have met is heralds and messengers.
He rises. Already, more of your little cat mice approach his dread city.
How do I get there? Where are the gates?
How does anyone get to paradise, little mouse cat?
Are you asking me to die?
What price were you willing to pay?
The cost that is asked of me. But no one has asked a cost as of yet.
I do not know what happens to mice cats when they die. I do not know if you will dream with us.
Perhaps they continue to live.
Perhaps. I spat out your captain once.
Did he taste poorly?
He was insufficient.
I know. But that is his charm.
Perhaps I should drag you all to the bottom of the ocean as my hecatomb.
Would you find that satisfying? Or would it bore you?
Reck not with what satisfies. You could not understand it.
I want to. If I am a mouse cat, perhaps I am a kitten. The line is very thin, after all. A growing cat, but not a mouse.
What would you give me to spare your ship?
Well, what would you ask of me?
It is not given to me to give the gift of union with the waves. If that is what you truly desire, then stay on your ship and go and see what you will see.
I don't want a union with the waves. I want a union with your kind.
Only the parents can give you the ability to see, to live beneath the waves.
Then I would like to meet them.
And I must not destroy your ship unless you can swim, little otter.
My swimming is something to be desired, a skill that I wish to learn.
Well, very well. But I shall not go home empty-handed.
Guide us, friend. Guide us to the city.
You'll need no guide. And with that, Eamon, you've never seen this before. You've seen whales do things in your life. You've seen them breach, casting their several ton bodies above the water to come down with a thunderous splash. You've seen their flukes grasping out like some great hand to smash the boats near them. But you have never seen a creature of this size lift half its bulk out of the water on its tail. All the tentacles splay forth like some great skeletal hand, wrap around one of the boats still lowering out of its davits, rip it from the side of the ship, and pull it down in the waves. For a long moment, you think it's dragged the captain down with it, until finally you see a head come bobbing up. And the captain, unconscious, is floating on the swell, not 30 feet from the ship.
All right. Let's go collect the captain. Everyone, sharp eyes. We know we're not alone.
So it dragged Mr. Dana's boat with Mr. Dana and his entire crew beneath the water.
So I fished the captain out of the water.
Just for fun, why don't we make that acting under pressure a little bit here?
Sure.
That's an oracle.
So that's a 6.
Figuring it's somewhat hard for you to use your prophecy here if it's to save the captain, but if you wish to spin me a tale.
Could I help? I mean,
Oh, sure.
yeah, I was there.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, I think, like, what does it look like when you, like, do you just, like, start to falter, or?
I think it's a bit of just rough seas, the fact that he's a lamp, like having to pick up dead weight that's not solid, that can like move around and stuff like that is incredibly difficult, especially if you can't get good footing. I mean, I almost probably go into the drink myself a couple times trying to pull him out.
Yeah, well, let's see if Angus is going to try and, stabilize you. I think in the chaos of everyone rushing to try and deal with this thing, I don't know that we all necessarily ended up on our normal boats. So if it's all right with Kat, I'll say I ended
Oh
up
yeah,
close
no,
enough to you
please.
to
I
lend a
figure,
hand.
given the number of time Angus has been like, oh, somebody needs rescuing, I can't see how you don't end up in that boat.
Yeah, and I got a 7 when you take the bonds into account. So that is enough to give you a +1 and get you to 7 yourself. So yeah, I think like you maybe, just like stumble a bit and like, nearly with it. And then Angus like, sort of just catches you and is able to help reel the captain in.
Okay. So which one is it going to be?
Worst
Cat.
outcome, hard bargain, ugly choice.
Yeah.
When you touch the captain's arm, Eamon Whistler burns. The captain speaks to you, but it is when you think about this later, in the dark watches of the night in your bunk alone, you think it was not the captain who spoke. Because what the captain said was, would you exchange your life for his, Eamon Burns? For I'll honor that bargain with you.
All right. We got the captain. Back to the boats. We have a destination. Let's get there fast.
Oh boy.
So I guess Lilith and Raphael are still standing up on the mainmast.
I think so. She's watched all this. And I think, like, as she had that conversation with the creature, she was looking up at the sky, not the waves.
Well, to quote the nursery rhyme, see how they run, little cat mouse. Will you grieve those men who were lost? Or are they the cost of doing science?
There is always a cost of doing science.
Hmm.
They are paper people. But also they are not. They exist in dual state, like a very different cat from a very different time, at once alive and dead.
I may have very, very slightly underestimated you.
Many
Don't
do.
get airs. You're not a cat. You can't be a cat.
I
But,
can be a cat.
oh no. Not if what you think is a cat. That you cannot be. But I could make you a most splendid warrior mouse if you want.
I would rather be a kitten. I acknowledge that becoming a cat requires training.
No, it doesn't. It requires transformation.
And what if I am willing to transform? And
You
what if I
haven't
have
earned it
nothing
yet.
to lose?
You can't go from 0 to 100, but I can get you to 10 right now, if you'd like. It's not cheating, it's teaching.
And the parents under the sea in the city, they would see it as such.
I think you'd have a better chance talking with the parents at that point, yes. You would not be so tongue-tied.
And what is the cost? There's always a cost.
Oh. From time to time, you might have to return a favor or 3 for me. That is the traditional way. Perhaps we should go completely. Your friend Lavinia would appreciate it. Why don't you just, and he pulls that book out, sign my book.
Is this a devil's bargain then?
The devil. Please. That's like going to Pagliacci and saying, "Oh well, you're a clown, I guess." The devil.
I prefer bargains where there are equal debts, not a unidirectional one.
You are most assuredly one of the most conceited little humans I've ever had to deal with. You keep thinking that you can bargain with me from a position of equality, but you would prefer a more formal contract then. Well, okay, very well. We've done those in the past too. What would you like? How shall we word it? But shall I not hold you to the Daniel Webster of the whole thing then? If we're going to explore these traditional manners of doing business.
If we are going to have a traditional manner of doing business, then, although I may be your apprentice, I would like to be your equal, not your servant, not a human doing your bidding. I, after all, would like to ascend, and I intend to get there, and I intend for you to put me on that path. So if I am going to do something for you, it is so that I may apotheose.
Let's make this very clear. Apotheose, sure, can do. Been there. But let me explain to you why you will never be my equal. And you're hanging in space in front of an enormous blue-white light. And you can't breathe. And then you're back on the yardarm, sunburned within an inch of your life. That's
hurts.
a star that you call Sirius A. I mean, you don't, because you don't know that there's a Sirius B, but there is.
So
I am not
star
human.
people.
I have never been human. I have the misfortune to talk to humans. That's how it goes.
You are an in-between.
I
Also,
am-
ouch, that hurt. Why did you have to show me so viscerally?
Because I've tried training cats by petting them, but they only understand the whip in the end. You don't see the big cat trainer at the circus holding off a little catnip mouse. No. You guys are the meanest, lowest, worst predators on this planet, and you have to be treated that way. You'll bite the hand that feeds you as sure as you would look at them.
You see me as a predator, and finally we are getting somewhere.
Indeed. So just remember who holds the whip hand. Will always hold the whip hand. But if you like, I'll teach you how to sharpen your claws.
I am happy to have a boss, but I serve myself.
Oh, I prefer it that way. I'm very big into independent contractors.
I like you, Raphael.
That's only one of my names.
I suspect I shall learn them all.
Perhaps. I've got a lot of them. Many of them can't be pronounced by human throats.
I suspect before long I shall have a throat that isn't entirely human.
Such things come with a cost.
And I am willing to pay.
Traditionally, it's with blood.
Well, I have a lot of that.
Yes, I know. It's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I didn't choose it either.
Well, then, we'll look into upgrades.
Amazing. And I think Lilith's face just breaks out into a big smile.
I don't know how to follow that. I mean, I have an idea how to follow that, but there probably needs to be something in between. So I think Angus wanted to talk to Lilith.
At some point. I'm not sure that this is exactly the moment. It feels a little deflationary
Next
from.
day.
It's a fair point. Well, they carry the captain into the great cabin. I guess that would be Angus and Eamon. And eventually the captain.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Who slowly, coughs up some seawater and comes back to life.
Captain, can you hear us?
And
Okay.
like looking like directly at you, Whistler, just like it said I was unworthy.
Oh, hi. And apparently,
Spoke?
It always does.
I mean, it let out some kind of horrible cry at some point, and then it destroyed one of our boats. Took the lives of the men in that boat with it.
Nods a couple times, but doesn't seem like particularly broken up about it. Who?
They died because they were trying to save you after you leapt overboard.
Who was it?
None of them made it. Oh, we checked.
Who was it?
It was
Dana's.
Danis.
Yeah, he nods again. A little more solemnly this time.
I mean, Captain, if it's gonna hurt the crew, you know how I feel about that.
And like pushing myself up wherever you've put me. You've made that clear.
In its intentions, it's made it pretty clear too. How you feeling?
But yeah, just kind of like looks at his hands. I thought that everything that I've done and given would have been enough. but it isn't.
May I speak, Captain?
Just looks at you for a few seconds. Like, almost, who are you? And then nods.
I don't know anything about the sea or about whatever manner of creature that was, but no matter how intelligent they are or what their motivations are, things that aren't humans don't think the same way we do. And I don't think you can ever really tell what they think of you or how they're evaluating you. You just have to do your best to be respectful in your interaction and see what follows. They have a different understanding of the world, and they all see it differently from each other as well. You can't guess at what they're going to do or how to make them trust you or treat you.
I don't need them
the way you want
to trust me. I don't need them.
Well, you wanted it to
Where's-
choose you, and that seems like much the same thing in a way to me.
Where's Phoebe? Where's Lilith?
Angus looks a little struck by that. He's like, where is Lilith?
I don't know. I can go try to find a lot of them if you want, Captain.
Yes.
Give me a moment. I'll go see if I can dig them up for you.
And Elias.
Elias as well. All right. I leave to go find those three people.
I think Angus lingers for a moment.
Yeah, it
and
might be interesting to have our conversation now, if you like.
Yeah.
In the in-between space between.
Yeah, I think it's like, even if it's not trust, I don't think you can ever know how to get what you want from something that doesn't think like a person. And then a slightly belated sir.
Like take almost like a full minute, and it's this weird awkward silence while he pulls himself back together. The rumors that I heard in Kingsport about you before we left were that you'd killed a man.
That's
And
so.
then looks up at you. Do you think it changed you?
I think it would change anyone.
In what way? Do you think it made you stronger or weaker for having done it?
He mulls this over. You can see he's thinking about it. I don't think I'd say either. Really. I think it was he'd done great harm, and now he's not going to anymore. And that was the only means I had to to stop him. I don't think it was... I don't believe in killing without reason.
Nor do I.
I hunt at home to feed myself, to feed my community, to take what I need and no more. But there was a reason for that man to die, and that wasn't... It's not that there was a reason for me to kill him, but I was there, and there's a price you pay for doing something like that. There's a price I'm paying, but it's a choice I'd make again. But it's not something I'd do for personal gain. It's not something you do to get something.
That's very human of you.
But with due respect, sir, human's all I know how to be and all any of us can.
Is it?
We are what we are, and I think knowing what we are and how to move in a world with things that aren't like us is just what you have to do.
I thought the only way to exist with such powers as we have seen is to give everything to them, because that was what they demanded. Even if they didn't care, even if they didn't love or appreciate the offering. But to give everything and still be deemed unworthy.
Perhaps it's because we shouldn't have those kinds of powers in the first place, sir. Like I said, I try and know what I am, and I make decisions when I know that they're the ones that need to be made. And beyond that are things that I don't think it's entirely right to pursue.
And like he looks up at you again and says, I never aspired beyond my station. I never thought to be...
It sounds like you were, sir. With respect, it sounds like you wanted things that were not yours, that aren't any of ours, really. And it sounds like
I never
the
wanted...
forces those do belong to weren't having it.
I never wanted the things that Lilith wants, to be more than we are.
Well, what did you want from them then?
And like actually being asked that question, you can see kind of like sets him back a bit and like really thinks.
Because you don't do the sorts of things you've done if you're not after something.
I shouldn't have survived the wreck, the Solano. I shouldn't have ended up back in Brighton.
I don't think anything happens because it should have or shouldn't have.
But it did.
But it did.
And this is
And then
where...
you live with that.
And this is where it brought me. And every day since has been a gift that I didn't deserve, and so I give it back.
Things don't happen because you deserve them or because you don't. The world doesn't operate on that kind of logic, not by itself. Justice is a human thing. People do things to each other because they deserve them or because they don't. The world doesn't care about any of that. It's something we invented. It's something we decide on. It's not real for anything other than us.
Justice isn't real. What you did to that man.
No, that's what I'm saying. The questions of deserving or right or wrong, those are human things. They're part of how humans do things to each other. All of that, and like he gestures, sort of broadly at, like the sea, the sky, whatever is out beyond the captain. None of that cares about the rules that we made up to deal with each other. We need those because that's how we operate, but nothing else works like that. I don't know how it does work. I've never had to. But the logic it uses is not the logic we use. They've probably got their own rules that look just as strange from the outside.
Yeah, and just like close my eyes and look at, not at you anymore.
Yeah, and Angus will be like, I'm sorry, I should go, but you didn't survive because it meant something. It's just a thing that happened. And today you survived because another person decided you did mean something and he went out of his way to save you. It's that simple.
And that feels like a great moment for Whistler to come back.
Yeah, I think Angus is starting to leave the room as Whistler re-enters, maybe.
Do I find Lilith?
I think you can. I think she came down from the mast.
Did you find the book, though?
It's a great question. I think she said she would sign the book, but she didn't do it there. She said come back to her in a few days. She'll think it over.
Okay. Raphael doesn't climb down with you then. He just stays up there. But when you get
Actually, this is...
No, actually,
Lilith...
I'm going to strike that. So, yeah, go on.
Can she... I feel like she wants to give... I think she wants to give Raphael a paw print. Not a signature, but a paw print.
Should be careful. He may consider that a signature.
That is his interpretation.
All right. So you write a paw print in his book with
Correct.
blood?
I guess she doesn't have much else up there.
All right. So you guys climb down and you quickly notice that while everybody's getting out of your way or kind of looking at you funny, like, what the hell are you doing on the mast in the middle of all that? Nobody's paying attention to Raphael except for Phoebe. Is looking at you and goes, oh, no, tell me you didn't do that.
No.
I think Lilith looks at Phoebe. I haven't done anything yet.
Oh, but you signed the book.
I did not. I put a paw print. I'm not a cat or a mouse. My signature is binding. That is not a signature. It is an expression of intent. It is not the same thing as a promise.
She spins on Raphael and says, you should not have done that. And he just looks at her and says, Phoebe Greenwood, one day I'll take the breath from your mouth for saying that to me and for being so impertinent. My business is elsewhere. And he just sort of walks away. That sounds like the point when Whistler finds you.
Yeah, I think so.
Oi, the captain wants to see you and Phoebe. He's had one of his episodes, and he would like to speak with you two.
Sure. Lead the way.
Where were you?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
I just chased away the beast from my nightmares and pulled the captain away from it as he was bobbing up and down in the water like an apple. Try me.
Do you see this sunburn? Whistler?
Yeah, that's what I was a bit curious about too. You look like you've been on a deserted island for a month.
It's not the sun.
But it's not the... Would you jump in a fire?
Not this sun.
What do you mean, not this sun? There's only one sun. There's
That
a
is
sun.
incorrect. Look above you.
There are clouds, stars, masts. My patience.
Yes, and what is a star if not a different sun?
I don't. Okay, I know how to do 3 things, and only one of them is polite to talk about right now, which is Waylon. I don't know these things, sweet. Lilith. There, I don't. How did?
I told you wouldn't believe me if I told you the truth. I tried to spare you, but you asked anyway.
You're right at this point. I mean, at this point, I expect you to eat your soup with a fork and knife and have it work.
I haven't tried that yet, but I expect
Don't.
perhaps one day.
Please don't. What do you mean one day? No, no more questions. The captain needs to see you. He's had a fit. He's not well. And you should definitely take care of that.
Well, I would if I could. But I didn't choose to be put in the light of a far distant star.
Just so you don't get sick. There's sun poisoning, and it ain't no fun thing.
That's true, I suppose. But I expect that star can do a great deal more damage than ours can.
Okay. Be well. Please go talk to the captain.
With pleasure, and I think she curtsies.
So I go try to find Elias.
He's with his men. They all have that they all look very strangely at you.
The captain would like to talk to Elias about the events of the day.
I see. Right now, Mr. Burns.
Oh, aye.
Oh. Very well. Shall you accompany me, or must I go to the firing squad all by myself?
It's not a firing squad. He just asked questions for you. If it was a
course.
firing squad, I'd lie to you. And I'm not lying.
We all lie, Mr. Burns.
I'm not lying right now. I only lie when I'm playing cards.
Yes, I know.
Which is why I have part of your wages now. Because you can't understand what a bluff is.
I needed that 5 shillings.
Win it back. Now please, the captain's waiting for you. And I have other things to attend to.
That's Eamon for drinking, right?
No, that's Eamon for gonna go bug Corey for answers on all things Eldritch.
Okay. So we have like 10 minutes. What conversation do you most want to have, Captain?
I mean, not knowing anything that happened up in the rigging, I suppose Phoebe
And Lilith?
and then Lilith, and then Elias.
Well, we'll see what we have time for. So, all right, Phoebe and Lilith come in. Phoebe looks at you as, your wounds are bad, Captain. Shall I dress them?
Just like hold out my arms.
She gets to it. So I still have some small art in healing, Captain. I shall endeavor to do what I can. Yeah, so what do you want to say, Cap?
Oh, I guess. Oh, this is me tagging the
Yeah.
Shepherd of Men move again, Lilith.
Oh, no.
Oh, great.
Oh, hello,
Beautiful.
Ed.
Indeed. What would you know?
I don't want to repeat exactly the conversation that I had with Angus, but where were you?
Here and everywhere.
Bargaining for her soul, Captain.
Here and everywhere.
And
I did not sign away my soul.
He'll keep that agreement in the spirit you gave him.
I gave him a paw print, not a signature.
Then you shall expect him to be as impertinent to you. Binding the captain's wounds angrily.
Phoebe, you think that I could be outsmarted by such the likes of Raphael. You think so little of me.
Do you think that my name's not in that book?
I think
your name is in that book and that was your decision.
And I think in your desire to get what you want, you might make any sort of error.
You think I'm going to make an error?
I think you are human, same as me.
And what if that's not enough anymore?
Then that's not up to you.
You're right, it isn't. And that's why I've sought counsel with those who are far beyond.
I did too.
And you changed your mind.
No.
Then what?
Then what? And I'm tagging that move right now.
Delightful. What does the captain really want to know? What guidance do they wish?
How to interpret what happened to me. Am I interpreting it correctly? Am I reading it wrong? Have I been misinterpreting it for years now? What do I do?
This is Lilith's id, not her ego. How much do you want it? With everything you have? With everything you are?
What do you think I'm aiming for?
I don't think you know what you're aiming for, Captain, and that is your problem. You don't want it enough. And they know that.
I don't want it enough. Just like this, like, offended look at you. Like he threw himself into the sea. How else can I demonstrate my desire? And I guess that's the real question.
Mhm.
I'd like an answer to.
This is interesting because I think Lilith will have an answer to this question, but she doesn't yet. I think she has to become more of that before she can speak to that question. She can't speak for the Eldritch, but she wants to be one who can then speak for them, speak to them.
So how would one now act as a true believer, Lilith Belvedere?
Go to the city. Follow the creature. It will lead you home. And when we are above the city, descend.
I think we're going there already under no direction of yours.
Then that should serve your purpose, Captain. That is where you are meant to be. That is where I am meant to be. And be there we shall.
And he stands up and takes your face in one hand, right? Like a school teacher, turning it from side to side. You want to be more than you are. Do you think they'll let you? Because I've been trying for years, and you're not even willing to give anything up.
They
Look,
don't want believers or acolytes. Your problem is you do not see yourself as their equal.
we're not.
Perhaps you should try to be. They might respect you more.
I think that qualifies for
As
advice.
I think it does.
But yeah, just drops his hand. You can go.
I think on Lilith's way out, as she passes the deck, she has a piece of parchment with her, which she has written upon in blood. And she rolls it up, looking at it one last time before she tosses it overboard. And the text on the parchment says, "To the parents, I seek your city. I have been offered a back door by a shining one who sculpted my skin in the light of a future star. Your messenger. I am not impressed by such parlor tricks, however much they might burn. Raphael has called me a cat mouse and has offered me their tutelage, an escape from this mortal maze. But I am not interested in the mice who scamper through corridors, nor in the minotaurs who stalk its corridors. I am interested in Daedalus, who designed the maze and runs this world's creatures through it. I wish to become an architect. The architect, perhaps. It has a nice ring to it. Perhaps by writing to you I usurp the chain of command. But I would not be subservient to lesser beings, offering crumbs of power of minor arcana without the consent of its source. I await your reply." And Lilith signs with a paw print.
You are all scary people. A brief preview of where we'll start next time. An island adrift in the midst of great blank sea, hazy in the heat. Proas launching from the beaches surrounding the Calypso as you make for the lagoon. Whales spouting on the horizon. And Elias Pembleton carting up with his crew a box onto the deck of the ship. Yeah, that was a thing. Wow. I got nothing else to say, so I guess I'll just say good night. Good night, everyone. We'll finish this up next week. Somehow, it will all make sense in the end. I'm not gonna promise that. All right, good night, folks.
I want to be the guy who keeps falling off the ship. That's a bad reputation to have.
Yeah, that's a bad luck reputation and a half right there, especially in a storm like this.
I mean, I guess technically it's the guy who keeps jumping off the ship to do other shit, but still a bit weird.
Not a reputation you want, though. Oh yeah, send in Angus over there. Oh, he loves jumping off the boat.
I received a message.
It's been kind of a thing for today, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's mail day.
I really want to make a Blue's Clues joke, but I'm not going to.
Marissa already did.
Ah, okay. There we go.
You just got a letter.
Something for the bloopers.
So how does Clement keep his log? That's the question everybody wants to know. Is it all super laconic, like found a castaway, crew people variously employed?
A normal day.
Wind south-southwest.
I would.
Here's a picture I drew of a whale.
I would love to see the captain's log for like someone else to see it. Like we get back to land, they're like, how did you come back with more crew members than you left?
Unlike Star Trek, most ship's logs were actually extremely laconic.
I can imagine.
Winds
Probably-
variable, people variously employed.
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
if he even does that, honestly.
I kind of figured the captain's log wasn't a framing device for what was going on that day. Captain's log, Stargate.
Commended to the deeps, Scott McPherson, Abel of Gloucester.
3 days later, took on new crew member, Scott.
Imagine that. And now, the owner's dead on board. So, who is holding us accountable these days?
Just gonna put up the little corpse on board sticker on the back of the boat.
Well,
Wow,
he's sealing letters.
I'm proud of my zombie honor student at Kingsport High.
I mean, that actually, you know what? That wouldn't be bad for, like, those little stick figure families. It's just one zombie chasing a bunch of other stick figures.
This is Grandpa.
This is Grandpa's car. He's got a weird sense of humor.
I am not a mouse, as I explained to your messenger. I am a cat in mouse form.
She literally just came up on my lap.
Clement doesn't laugh, just me at Marissa's comment.
Yeah. So, Elias is the guy in the box, right? No.
No, he's the guy who told you not to look in the box.
Right.
The guy in the box is Josiah.
Right.
I mean, if you want to bring him instead.
I'm good.
For the love of God, Eamon. Yes, for the love of God.